Lord, give me the strength. Give me the strength to listen to about 35 seconds of Hillary Clinton this weekend on Sunday morning CBS. Listen.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. And I take responsibility for those parts of it that I should. But Jane, it was like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. And so I know that he knows that this wasn't on the level. I don't know that we'll ever know everything that happened, but clearly we know a lot and are learning more every day, and history will probably sort it all out. So of course he's obsessed with me, and I believe that it's a guilty conscience in so much as he has a conscience.
He doesn't think of you, Hillary. He doesn't. When he obsesses over the election, it's not about Hillary Clinton. It's about the corruption of the Democrats and the way they played. He's not... Hillary, you were the worst candidate in my lifetime and maybe in several Beck generations. I mean, my shoe could have beaten you. There's no mystery here.
Yeah, that's why you lost.
That's why she lost. She's horrible. She was horrible.
Further than I've heard her go, though. She's saying the election was not legitimate. Remember the big complaint before the election was that Donald Trump was going to say it wasn't legitimate?
Yes.
Do you remember this?
Yes.
Do you remember how the press spent weeks talking about what a scary thing it was that one of a major presidential candidates would dare say that if they lost, the other side cheated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Here, this is what she's saying.
Well,
she's saying, we don't know how, but we think he cheated. That's not how you accuse someone of a major crime.
What was the deal with the media? They're claiming that the birth certificate stuff claimed that he was an illegitimate president. Well, yeah, that's exactly what it was. And you had a problem with it. And that's why we didn't report on it. I mean, we did our homework on it, and we found it to be a valid birth certificate. But those people who kept going with the non-valid birth certificate, look, it could have been changed. I bet it was CIA that changed it. Good God. They're doing the same thing. This is just their birth certificate thing. But here's the problem. With the birth certificate, the president could have solved that right away. He could have released that thing right away. But it helped Obama. It helped him. Because it made anybody who was opposed to him, they could throw him into birther categories where I wasn't a birther, you weren't a birther, but we were birthers.
Right. It was a handy way to demean his enemies.
Correct. Okay, so that's why they kept that thing going for as long as they did. Now, what are they doing here? With the birth certificate, it was Obama's prerogative to release that certificate whenever he wanted. Okay, he held it back. This is not only a false claim, this is what they did. This is what they did. Oh, he was involved in Russia. Let me give you some new information now on the Ukraine scandal with the DNC. We're doing a special with Blaze TV, and the episodes begin tonight. Tonight, we're talking to you about what you need to know, what your questions are, because I want to make sure that on Thursday, this special hits everything that it needs to hit. On Tuesday, we're going into Biden and Ukraine. On Wednesday, Biden and China. Then on Thursday, we'll do a special behind the scenes at 5 o'clock. And then Thursday night at 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern, we're going to do a special, Ukraine, the Democrats, Russia. Now, why are we calling it the Democrats, Russia? When John Solomon was doing his research on the Russian collusion story, about a year and a half ago, he had gone over to the Ukraine because some of the information was coming from the Ukraine. And so when he's looking at it, he was asking for the Ukrainians to help. Did it come from you? Where was it? Were the Democrats involved? So he was satisfied that Donald Trump was not involved with Russia. and that he had not colluded with Russia to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. The last thing that this source in Ukraine said to John Solomon was when John said, okay, so there's really nothing to see here. The guy looked at him and said, shook his head and said, you don't get it. Ukraine is the Democrats' Russia. Everything that they said Donald Trump was doing, they were doing in Russia. And the evidence is a little overwhelming at this point. Imagine what could happen and the evidence you could get if you're looking for it. Let me give you a couple of things. First, Chris Murphy from Connecticut. He's a Democrat from Connecticut. He called or went over to Zelensky, and he wanted to make sure that the new Ukrainian president knew exactly what the deal was. Now, he spoke to him in, I believe, August. I don't have the date in front of me. While choosing his words carefully, this is from John Solomon, Murphy made clear by his own account that Ukraine currently enjoyed bipartisan support for U.S. aid, but that could be jeopardized if the new president acquiesced to a request by President Trump to investigate past corruption allegation involving Americans, including Joe Biden. What is that? Can somebody help me on that? What is that? Did he not just threaten aid? Murphy boasted after the meeting that he told the new Ukrainian leader that the U.S. aid was his country's most important asset, and it would be viewed as election meddling and disastrous for long-term U.S.-Ukrainian relations to bend to the wishes of Donald Trump. Quote, I told Zelensky that he should not insert himself or his government into American politics. I cautioned him that complying with the demands of the president's campaign representatives to investigate a political rival of the president would gravely damage U.S.-Ukrainian relationship. There are few things Republicans and Democrats agree on in Washington these days, and support for the Ukraine is one of them. So here's his message. Investigate Ukraine dealings with Joe Biden and his son, and you're not going to get any aid. Now, that's current. So they just did exactly what they accused the president of doing. But the president was looking for something else. So you have to understand, he is not obsessed with Hillary Clinton. She's a loser, and he knows it. And he doesn't spend any time thinking about people he thinks are losers. What he is thinking about is, and she did it for a reason, he's an illegitimate president. She knows that will bother him at night. It will bother him in everything he does. That will stick to him. And he will make mistakes because he will be so preoccupied with, they're saying I'm an illegitimate president. I'm not an illegitimate president. So they're trying, she specifically chose those words because she's trying to get underneath his skin, and it will work.